The dining room smelled like butter and resentment. I stood in the doorway with a bottle of wine nobody asked for, watching my sister arrange place cards like she was seating the UN General Assembly. She'd driven up from Charlotte with her husband and their matching North Face jackets, the kind that cost more than my truck payment. They looked like a cologne ad. I looked like a man who'd spent the morning replacing a water heater. "Dave?" My sister's voice had that performance quality, the one she used when other people were listening. "You made it!" Like I'd crossed the Himalayas instead of driving 20 minutes from my house. I set the wine on the counter. My wife, Linda, was already in the kitchen with my mother, both of them moving around each other with the practiced efficiency of people who'd spent 30 Thanksgivings doing this exact dance. Linda caught my eye and gave me that look, the one that meant she'd already heard something that was going to piss me off later. "Where do you want me?" I asked. My sister glanced at her seating chart. End of the table, next to Uncle Ray. Of course. Uncle Ray, who'd tell the same 3 stories about Vietnam and fall asleep in his mashed potatoes by 7. The kids' table in adult form. I didn't argue. I never did. The house filled up fast. My brother Tom arrived with his wife and their 2 teenagers, both glued to their phones. My sister's daughter, Brittany, came in wearing something that probably cost more than my monthly insurance premium. Then came the main event, my son, Jason. He walked in like he was entering a shareholders' meeting, phone pressed to his ear, one finger up in that universal gesture for, "Hold on, this is important." His wife, Michelle, followed behind him with their daughter, Emma, who was 8 and already learning to look at me the way her parents did. Jason finished his call. Sorry, client emergency." He worked in commercial real estate. Everything was a client emergency. He wore a suit to Thanksgiving dinner, not a sport coat, a full suit, like he might need to close a deal between the turkey and the pie. "Dave." He shook my hand instead of hugging me. Firm grip, eye contact, the whole corporate routine. "How's the business?" "Good," I said. "Steady." "Still doing the HVAC thing?" The HVAC thing. Like it was a hobby. Like I hadn't built a company that employed 6 people and cleared enough to put him through college without loans. "Still doing it," I said. Michelle kissed my cheek, her perfume expensive and obvious. "We brought wine. It's in the car. Jason, go get the wine." "I brought wine," I said. "Oh, this is special. It's from a vineyard we visited in Napa. You'll love it." I nodded. My wine was already on the counter, $12 from the grocery store, probably going to stay there all night. We sat down at 6. 23 people crammed around a table meant for 12, with folding chairs and mismatched plates, and that weird tension that comes from forcing everyone to pretend they like each other more than they do. My mother said grace. Long version, the one where she thanked God individually for every person in the room. My knees ached against the table leg. Uncle Ray was already eyeing the bourbon. Then we ate. For about 15 minutes it was fine. People passed dishes, complimented the turkey, asked safe questions about work and school and the weather. Then my sister stood up. She had a wine glass in her hand, not my wine, I noticed. The Napa wine. She tapped it with her fork, that crystalline ping that makes everyone stop talking and look. "I want to make a toast," she said. Linda's hand found mine under the table. She squeezed once. Warning. "I've been thinking a lot lately about success," my sister continued. She was using her TED Talk voice now, the one she'd probably practiced. "About what it means to build something meaningful, to take risks, to really put yourself out there and create something from nothing." I watched Jason sit up straighter. Michelle's hand moved to his shoulder. "And I just want to say how incredibly proud I am." My sister's voice cracked, actual emotion or performance, I couldn't tell. "How proud we all should be of the most successful person at this table." She raised her glass toward Jason. To Jason, who took nothing and built an empire, who saw opportunity where others saw risk, who never settled for comfortable when he could reach for extraordinary. The table erupted. Applause, cheers, raised glasses. My brother Tom was grinning like an idiot. My mother had tears in her eyes. Michelle was beaming, her hand still on Jason's shoulder like she was claiming credit. Jason stood up. Of course he did. "Thank you," he said. Humble voice, the kind that's practiced to sound unrehearsed. I mean, wow. I don't know what to say. I've been blessed, really blessed. Great family, great support system, great opportunities. He looked around the table. His eyes passed over me like I was part of the wallpaper. I just want to say that none of this would be possible without the foundation I had growing up. The values, the work ethic, the belief that anything is possible if you're willing to work for it. More applause. My sister was crying now, definitely real tears. And I hope I'm making everyone proud. I hope I'm living up to the potential you all saw in me, because that's what drives me every day, knowing I have this incredible family behind me. He sat down. Michelle kissed him. Emma clapped, even though she probably didn't understand half of what he'd said. I clapped too, smiled, raised my glass of water because I was driving and Linda liked her wine. Then I reached into my jacket pocket. The envelope was standard business size, manila, the kind you can buy at any office supply store. I'd sealed it that morning. I slid it under my plate while everyone was still congratulating Jason, still basking in his reflected glory. Linda saw. Her hand squeezed mine again, different pressure this time. Question mark. I didn't answer. Dinner continued. Uncle Ray told his stories. The teenagers escaped to the living room. Jason held court at his end of the table, talking about interest rates and commercial property values and market trends. People listened like he was revealing the secrets of the universe. My mother asked me about work. "It's good," I said. "We picked up a contract with the school district, maintenance on all their buildings." "That's nice, dear." She turned back to Jason, who was explaining his latest deal. Something about mixed-use development and tax incentives. I watched my mother's face light up, the way it used to when he was a kid bringing home report cards. We had pie. We drank coffee. My sister brought out photo albums, pointing out baby pictures of Jason like they were religious relics. "He was always special," she said. "You could just tell." I helped clear plates, scraped food into trash bags, loaded the dishwasher while everyone else sat around talking about Jason's success, Jason's vision, Jason's brilliant future. Linda found me in the kitchen. "You okay?" she asked. "Fine." "Dave." I looked at her. 26 years of marriage. She could read me like large print. "I'm fine," I said again. "Just tired." "What's in the envelope?" "You'll see." We left around 9. I hugged my mother, shook hands with my brother, waved at Jason, who was back on his phone. In the car, Linda waited until we were on the highway. "Talk to me," she said. "Nothing to talk about." "Dave." I drove. Watched the headlights cut through the dark. Thought about Jason's toast, about my sister's tears. "Did you know," I said, "that I paid for his college?" "I know." All 4 years, room and board, books, even that semester abroad. I wrote the checks, I signed the forms, I co-signed his first apartment lease. "I know." "Did you know I gave him $10,000 to start his business?" "Said it was a gift, told him not to worry about paying it back." Linda was quiet. "And the car. Remember the car? His first professional vehicle. I co-signed that too. He couldn't get the loan on his own." "Why are you telling me this?" "Because nobody else remembers," I said. "It's like it never happened. He built an empire from nothing. He took risks. He's a self-made man." "He's your son." "I know what he is." We drove in silence. Linda's hand found mine, but she didn't squeeze this time. Just held it. At home, I sat in my truck for 5 minutes after we pulled into the driveway. Watched the house lights, yellow and warm against the cold November night. My house. Paid off 3 years ago. Nothing special, but mine. Inside, I made a drink. Bourbon, neat. I didn't usually drink, but tonight felt like an exception. Linda was already in bed when I came upstairs. Reading, glasses on. "You coming to bed?" she asked. "In a minute." I stood at the window, looking at nothing. Thought about Jason's face when he stood up. The pride, the certainty, the complete absence of memory about how he got there. My phone was on the dresser. I picked it up, scrolled through old messages. Found one from 3 years ago. Jason. "Hey Dad, can you front me $5K? Got a deal, but I'm short on cash. I'll pay you back end of month." I'd sent the money that day. Never saw it again. Never asked for it. Another message from 2 years ago. Jason. "Need you to talk to Bill Henderson. He's considering selling his strip mall. I need an in. You guys are buddies, right?" Bill Henderson. I'd installed and maintained the HVAC systems in 4 of his properties over 15 years. Had his personal cell number. Got him a deal on equipment when his budget was tight. I'd called Bill, made the introduction. Jason closed the deal 3 weeks later. Never mentioned my name in the paperwork. I put the phone down. Linda was watching me over her book. "What was in the envelope?" she asked. "Insurance," I said. "Against what?" "Being forgotten." She took off her glasses. "Dave, what did you do?" "Nothing yet," I said. "But tomorrow someone's going to remember I exist." I finished my drink. Got into bed. Linda turned off the light, but I knew she wasn't sleeping. I could feel her thinking in the dark, that particular quality of silence that meant questions were building. "Are you going to tell me?" she finally asked. "After," I said. "When it's done." "When what's done?" I closed my eyes, saw Jason's face, my sister's toast, my mother's proud tears, the empty space where my name should have been. "Everything," I said. The call came at 7:30 the next morning. As the story unfolds, hit the hype button, like, subscribe, and write in the comments. Would you forgive them or walk away? I was under a water heater when my phone rang. The Martins' basement smelled like mildew and old cardboard, and their water heater had been making a noise like a dying cat for 3 days before they finally called me. I'd been there since 6:30, wrench in hand, flashlight between my teeth, working in that specific kind of cold that only unfinished basements have. The phone buzzed in my pocket. I ignored it. 5th call in an hour. "Everything okay down there?" Mrs. Martin called from the top of the stairs. "Fine," I said around the flashlight. "Just need another 10 minutes." The phone stopped. Started again immediately. I pulled it out. The screen said Jason. I let it ring through to voicemail, tightened the valve connection, tested the pressure. The water heater hummed, normal and alive. Fixed. I cleaned up my tools, climbed the basement stairs, and found Mr. Martin in the kitchen with his checkbook. "All set?" he asked. "Should be good for another 5 years. I replaced the anode rod and flushed the sediment. If you hear that noise again, call me right away." He wrote the check. "You're a lifesaver, Dave. We were afraid we'd need a whole new unit. Not yet. Take care of it and it'll take care of you." In my truck, I had 17 missed calls, 12 from Jason, 3 from Michelle, 2 from my sister. I started the engine, sat there with the heat running, watching my breath fog the windshield. Then I listened to the first voicemail. Jason's voice, tight and controlled. "Dad, call me back. It's important." Second message. "Dad, seriously, I need to talk to you. Call me when you get this." Third message, the control starting to crack. "Dad, what the hell? Pick up your phone." I deleted them all, drove to my next job. The shop was a small building off Route 29, nothing fancy. Dave's Heating and Cooling in faded letters on the side. I'd bought it 12 years ago with a small business administration loan and a prayer. Now it was paid off and I had 6 guys working for me. Good guys. reliable. My office manager, Rita, was at the front desk when I walked in. "Your son's been calling," she said. No greeting, straight to business. That was Rita. "I know. He called here 3 times, said it was urgent." "What did you tell him?" "That you were on a job. He said to have you call the second you got back." She paused. "He sounded upset." "I bet he did." I went into my office, closed the door, and sat at the desk. It was an old metal thing I'd bought at a government surplus auction. Ugly but functional, like everything else in my life. My personal phone rang again. "Jason," I answered. "Where the hell have you been?" His voice was sharp, the professional veneer completely gone. "Working. I've been calling you for 2 hours. I was under a water heater, couldn't answer." Silence. I could hear him breathing, that particular rhythm that meant he was trying to control his temper. "We need to talk," he said. "I'm listening. Not on the phone, in person. I've got 4 more jobs today. How about tomorrow?" "Today, Dad. Now." I leaned back in my chair. It creaked. I'd been meaning to oil it for months. "What's this about?" I asked. "You know what it's about." "Do I?" "The envelope. What the hell was that?" "Which envelope?" "Don't play games. The one you left under your plate at dinner. The one Mom found when she was cleaning up." I smiled. Alone in my office, nobody to see it. "Oh, that envelope. What were you thinking?" His voice climbed half an octave. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" "I put some papers under my plate, that's all." "Those weren't just papers." "No," I said. "They weren't." More silence, longer this time. "Did anyone else see it?" he asked finally. "I don't know. Did they?" "Mom opened it. She called me at 6 this morning. She was crying, Dad. Crying." "What did it say?" "You know what it said. You put it there. Humor me." I heard him move, probably pacing. Jason paced when he was stressed. Wore tracks in expensive carpet while he talked on his Bluetooth. "It was a loan document," he said. "From 8 years ago, the $10,000, with my signature. And a payment schedule I apparently never followed. Apparently. And a copy of the car loan, with your name as co-signer and a printout of every payment you made when I forgot." "Anything else?" "Printouts of text messages, emails, every time I asked you for money or connections or help. Every single time." I waited. "Why?" he asked. "Why would you do this? Why would I save records of loans my son took out? That seems pretty standard." "You know that's not what I mean. Why would you leave them at Thanksgiving dinner? Why would you do this in front of everyone?" "I didn't do it in front of everyone. I put an envelope under my plate. Your grandmother found it while cleaning. That's not my fault." "Bullshit. Watch your mouth. You planned this. You wanted her to find it. You wanted everyone to know." I looked at my desk calendar. I had a maintenance check at the Methodist Church in 40 minutes. "Jason," I said, "I kept copies of financial documents related to my son. That's called being responsible. What you're upset about is that someone saw them. You humiliated me." "Did I? How?" "Everyone thinks, they all believe. God, do you know what Michelle said? Do you know what Aunt Sharon said? I imagine they said something about money. They said I lied. They said I've been lying about how I built my business, about being self-made, about taking risks and succeeding on my own merit." "Did you lie?" Silence. "Did you?" I asked again. "I didn't lie. I just didn't mention certain details. Details like $50,000 in loans, co-signed vehicles, and business connections I provided. You said those were gifts. You said not to worry about paying you back. I did say that, and I meant it, but gifts don't make you self-made, do they?" I could hear Michelle in the background now, her voice sharp and urgent. "We need to talk about this in person," Jason said. "Why?" "Because we need to figure out how to handle this." "Handle what? The truth?" "Dad, please, just meet me, 1 hour. We can fix this." "There's nothing to fix." There's everything to fix. Do you understand what this does to my reputation, to my business, to my relationships with clients who believed I built something from nothing? Maybe you should have thought about that before the toast. Silence. The long kind, where you can hear someone realizing something. This is about Thanksgiving, he said quietly. About Aunt Sharon's toast. Is it? Oh my God. You're that petty? That small? You got your feelings hurt, so you decided to blow up my life? I didn't blow up anything. I left some papers under a plate. Everything else is just truth coming out. You're unbelievable. I'm going to go now. I have a job. Dad, wait. I hung up. The phone rang again immediately. I turned it off. Rita knocked on my door. Everything okay? She asked. Fine. I'm heading to the church, back by noon. She studied my face. Rita had worked for me for 8 years. She'd seen me handle angry customers, equipment failures, economic downturns. She'd never seen me smile like I was smiling now. What did you do? She asked. My job, I said. The Methodist church was routine. I checked the furnace, replaced 2 filters, tested the thermostats. Reverend Patterson walked me through it, talking about the Christmas program and the heating bills and whether they should upgrade to a more efficient system. You look happy, he said. Good Thanksgiving? Interesting, I said. Family gatherings usually are. I finished the job, wrote up the invoice, got in my truck and turned my phone back on. 43 messages. I drove to my next job without listening to any of them. The afternoon passed in a blur of routine. A furnace inspection in an old farmhouse, a thermostat installation in a new subdivision, a consultation about ductwork in a restaurant that was losing heat through poorly sealed vents. Normal work, the kind I'd been doing for 30 years. At 5, I went home. Linda's car was in the driveway. She was usually home by 4:30. She worked as a school secretary, same district I had the maintenance contract with, but her expression when I walked in told me she hadn't spent the afternoon filing paperwork. We need to talk, she said. I hung up my coat. Everyone wants to talk today. Your sister called me. At work. Dave, she called me at work. What did she want? She wanted to know what's going on. She wanted to know if you were okay. She wanted to know what the hell you were thinking. What did you tell her? That I'd talk to you and call her back. What is going on? I went to the kitchen, poured a glass of water. Linda followed. Dave. I left some documents at Thanksgiving dinner, I said. Loan records, payment histories, text messages, proof that Jason's empire was built with my money and my connections. Linda sat down at the kitchen table. Slowly, like her legs had stopped working right. Why? Because I was tired of being invisible. So you decided to humiliate your son in front of the entire family? I decided to tell the truth. By leaving an envelope where you knew someone would find it? I left it under my plate. What happened after that isn't my responsibility. That's a technicality and you know it. I sat down across from her. The kitchen was quiet except for the refrigerator's hum. The house we'd lived in for 23 years. The house we'd raised Jason in. The house he never visited anymore unless it was a holiday obligation. Do you remember his 16th birthday? I asked. Linda frowned. What? His 16th birthday. We threw him a party, invited his whole class, rented tables, bought a cake, grilled hamburgers. You made that banner. I remember. He spent the whole party on his phone, left after an hour to go hang out with friends somewhere else, didn't even say thank you. He was 16. Teenagers are thoughtless. And when he was 22, when we drove to his college graduation 4 hours each way and he didn't save us seats, we sat in the overflow section, watched him on a video screen. Dave, when he got married, and he gave me 15 minutes notice that I was walking Michelle down the aisle because her father had a heart condition. Remember that? 15 minutes. I was still in my work clothes. Linda's face softened. I know it's been hard. And Thanksgiving. That toast. Everyone applauding like he did it alone. like I was just some background character in his success story. So this is revenge? This is truth. Truth can be revenge. I looked at my wife. Her hair was going gray at the temples, smile lines around her eyes. She'd stood beside me through 3 decades of struggle and stability. She deserved honesty. Maybe, I said. Maybe it is. She reached across the table, took my hand. What happens now? She asked. I don't know. Are you ready for whatever comes next? I think so. Dave, he's your son. I know, but I'm his father. And he forgot that. My phone rang. I looked at the screen. My sister. I answered. Dave, she said. No hello, no preamble. What is happening? You'll have to be more specific. Don't play dumb. The envelope, the documents. Mom is beside herself. Jason is talking about lawyers. Everyone is upset. Everyone except me. This isn't funny. I'm not laughing. Why would you do this? Why would you try to destroy your own son? I'm not destroying anything. I'm just providing context. Context? You're trying to make him look like a fraud. Am I? Or am I just showing people where he came from? My sister's voice got that dangerous, quiet tone, the one she used when she was about to say something cutting. You're jealous, she said. You've always been jealous of him. He's successful and you're still crawling around in basements fixing water heaters. Someone has to fix the water heaters. You can't stand that he's better than you, that he made something of himself while you stayed small. Linda was watching me. I kept my voice calm. Sharon, I said. I'm going to say this once. I'm not jealous of Jason. I'm proud of what he's accomplished, but I'm also done being erased from the story of how he got there. Nobody erased you. Really? Then why did your toast mention risks and building from nothing? Why did Jason's speech talk about values and work ethic, but not about the $50,000 I gave him? Why does everyone act like he manifested his success out of thin air? Because that's not. Those details aren't. People don't need to know every little thing. Every little thing. Is that what I am? You know that's not what I meant. What did you mean? Silence. We're family, she said finally. We're supposed to support each other, not tear each other down. I agree. So why did you toast the most successful child instead of just toasting Jason? Why turn it into a comparison? Why make it about being better than everyone else at the table? I was just proud of him. Were you proud of Tom? Or me? Did we get toasts? This isn't about you, isn't it? Because it feels like it's always been about me, the son who stayed home, the one who didn't go to college, the one who works with his hands, the failure. Nobody thinks you're a failure. Then why am I at the end of the table next to Uncle Ray? She didn't have an answer for that. I need to go, I said. Tell Mom I'll call her tomorrow. I hung up. Linda squeezed my hand. You okay? She asked. Getting there. We sat in the kitchen while the sun went down. Didn't turn on the lights. Just sat in the growing dark, holding hands across the table. My phone buzzed with messages. I didn't look at them. Outside, the November wind rattled the windows. The furnace kicked on. The house settled into its evening sounds. And somewhere across town, my son was probably pacing his expensive carpet, trying to figure out how to rebuild a reputation I'd just cracked. I should have felt guilty. I didn't. Monday morning, everything changed. I woke up in an empty house, made coffee, checked my phone. 113 messages. I deleted them all. Then I drove to work. Rita was at her desk when I walked in. She looked up, concern on her face. Dave, there's someone here to see you. Who? Martin Chen. He's been waiting since 7. Martin was in my office, sitting in the chair across from my desk, wearing his chef's whites even though his restaurant didn't open until 11. Martin, I said, everything okay with the system? System's fine. I need to talk to you about your son. I closed the door, sat down, What about him? He's been using your name, our relationship, getting meetings with other restaurant owners, positioning himself as the guy who understands the industry because of his connection to you. I know. Did you tell him to do that? No. Martin nodded slowly. I didn't think so, but I needed to hear it from you. I'm sorry, Martin. I didn't know he was doing it until recently. I believe you. You're not that kind of man. But Dave, this puts me in a difficult position. I recommended him to 3 other owners. They gave him business based on my word, based on what I thought was your endorsement. I understand. Do you? Because one of those owners just lost $50,000 on a deal that went south, and Jason's not returning his calls. I felt something cold settle in my stomach. What deal? Commercial property. Jason said it was a sure thing. Low risk, high return. The owner liquidated retirement savings to invest. The property had undisclosed liens. Now it's stuck in legal limbo and the money's gone. How bad? Bad enough that the owner is talking to a lawyer. About Jason? About everyone involved, including me for making the introduction, and potentially you since Jason was trading on your reputation. The cold spread. Martin, I had nothing to do with that deal. I know, but the owner doesn't. He thinks this whole thing was a setup, that you and Jason worked together to con him. That's not true. I know that. You know that. But right now, perception is reality. And the perception is that your son is a fraud, and you're either complicit or negligent. I sat back in my chair, thought about burning houses, about spiders. What do you need from me? I asked. I need you to make this right. Talk to Jason. Get him to return the owner's calls. Figure out how to fix this before lawyers get involved and everyone loses. I'll try. Don't try. Do it. Because if this gets ugly, it affects all of us. My reputation, your reputation, every relationship you've built in this town. He left. I sat at my desk for 10 minutes, staring at nothing, thinking about consequences. Then I called Jason, straight to voicemail. I tried Michelle. Same thing. I called Bill Henderson. Dave. Bill, tell me about Jason's other deals. The ones you backed out of. How bad is it? Silence. Bill? Dave, I think you need to talk to Jason directly. I'm trying, he won't answer. Then maybe you need to try harder. What's going on? I can't say. Client confidentiality. But Dave, if I were you, I'd find your son today. Before this gets worse. Worse how? Just find him. He hung up. I called Linda. Dave? I need you to come home. What's wrong? I think I made a mistake. A big one. What happened? I don't know yet, but I need you here. I'll be there in an hour. I spent the next hour calling everyone I knew, every contact I'd given Jason, every connection I'd made, trying to piece together what was happening. What I learned made my stomach turn. Jason had 7 deals in progress. 3 had collapsed completely. 2 were in legal dispute. 1 was under investigation by the State Real Estate Commission. The last one was barely holding together. In total, investors had lost or frozen nearly $300,000, and all of them thought I was involved. Linda arrived at 11, came straight to the shop. One look at my face, and she knew. How bad? She asked. Bad. Tell me, I told her. All of it. The collapsed deals, the lost money, the angry investors, the potential lawsuits. Oh God, she said. Dave, what did you do? I pulled the rug out, and Jason fell, hard. What happens now? I don't know. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Mr. Patterson? This is Detective Ryan Marcus with the Fraud Division. I need to speak with you about your son's business practices. The cold in my stomach became ice. What about them? We've received several complaints, allegations of misrepresentation, fraudulent investment schemes, and unlicensed securities dealing. Your name appears in multiple documents as a reference or associate. We need to ask you some questions. Am I under investigation? Not at this time. But we do need to speak with you. Can you come down to the station? When? Today would be best. I looked at Linda. Her face was white. I'll be there in an hour, I said. At the police station, I sat in a small room with Detective Marcus and another officer I didn't catch the name of. They had files, printouts, recordings. Mr. Patterson, are you aware of your son's business activities? Some of them. Did you endorse or recommend any investments he was selling? No. Did you introduce him to investors? I introduced him to people I knew. I didn't know he was pitching investments. But you made the introductions. Yes. And these people trusted you, your judgment, your reputation. Yes. So when your son approached them with investment opportunities, they assumed you'd vetted them, that you endorsed them. I didn't answer. Mr. Patterson? I didn't know, I said. I didn't know he was doing this. Detective Marcus opened a file, slid a document across the table. It was a text message from me to Martin Chen. Martin, Jason has some interesting opportunities, worth a conversation. I stared at it. I sent that 2 years ago. He asked me to introduce him. He said he wanted to talk about commercial property. Did you know what he was selling? No. Did you ask? No. Why not? Because he's my son. I trusted him. Another document, an email, from me to Bill Henderson. Bill, Jason's got a project that might interest you. Sharp kid, good instincts. Give him a call. I remember that, I said. That was for the strip mall deal, a legitimate purchase. But you endorsed him, vouched for him, and Mr. Henderson trusted that voucher. Yes. And when Jason came back with other deals, Mr. Henderson assumed they carried the same endorsement. I saw where this was going. The trail I'd left, the breadcrumbs that led from me to Jason to investors. Am I in trouble? I asked. That depends. If we determine you knowingly participated in fraudulent schemes, yes. If we determine you were negligent in your endorsements, possibly. If we determine you were simply a father helping his son, probably not. I was just trying to help. I understand. But Mr. Patterson, help has consequences, especially when money is involved. They questioned me for 2 more hours, went through every introduction I'd made, every connection, every text and email and phone call where I'd mentioned Jason's name. By the end, I felt sick. Are we done? I asked. For now. We'll be in touch if we have more questions. And Mr. Patterson? Yes? Find your son. Tell him to get a lawyer. This isn't going away. I left the station. Linda was waiting in the parking lot. What happened? They think Jason was running investment scams, using my name and connections to find victims. Oh God. They asked if I knew, if I was involved. What did you say? The truth. That I didn't know, that I was just helping my son. Do they believe you? I don't know. We sat in the car. The November afternoon was getting dark, cold. What do we do? Linda asked. I need to find Jason. I drove to his office. The building was dark, door locked. No one answered the buzzer. I drove to his house. Same thing. No lights, no cars, no answer. I called Michelle's cell. Voicemail. I called his office line. Voicemail. I called every number I had. Nothing. Where is he? Linda asked. I don't know. We drove back home, sat in the driveway. Dave, what have we done? I don't know. You wanted him to face consequences. You got your wish. Not like this. Then like what? What did you think would happen? I didn't have an answer. Inside, my phone rang. My sister. Dave, have you seen Jason? No. Why? He's not answering his phone. Michelle called me crying. She says they're leaving town, that everything's falling apart, that it's your fault. Where are they going? I don't know. But Dave, what did you do? What did you start? I was trying to tell the truth. The truth is destroying him. He destroyed himself. I just stopped covering for him. That's not, Dave, he's your son. No matter what he did, he's your son. I know. Then fix this. Whatever it takes, fix it. She hung up. I sat on the couch, head in my hands, Linda beside me. I didn't want this, I said. I know. I just wanted him to remember me, to see me. I know. How did it get this bad? Because you opened a door, and sometimes, once a door is open, you can't control what comes through. We sat in silence. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. You wanted to destroy me. Congratulations. You win. Jason. I called the number. It rang twice. Don't call this number again. Jason. Wait. You got what you wanted. I'm done. Finished. My business is collapsing. My reputation is destroyed. I'm probably going to be charged with fraud. And it's all because you couldn't let go of a stupid toast. Where are you? Why do you care? Because you're my son. Now I'm your son, after you spent 2 weeks destroying my life? Now you remember? Jason, listen to me. No, you listen. I made mistakes. I took credit I shouldn't have. I used your connections without acknowledgement. I was wrong. But Dad, what you didn't just expose my mistakes, you destroyed everything. You didn't just want truth. You wanted revenge. That's not... Yes, it is. And you got it. I hope it was worth it. Jason, we can fix this. We can... There's nothing to fix. It's over. Everything's over. And I'm leaving. Taking Michelle and Emma and starting somewhere new, somewhere you can't reach. Don't do this. Why not? You did. I'm sorry. Silence. Jason? It's too late for sorry. You should have thought about this before you left that envelope, before you made those calls, before you decided that your pride was more important than your family. Where are you going? Doesn't matter. You'll never see us again. Jason? Goodbye, Dad. I hope your revenge keeps you warm. He hung up. I tried calling back. Number disconnected. I sat there, phone in hand, staring at nothing. Linda put her arm around me. What did he say? I couldn't answer. Because what I'd set in motion was bigger than I'd imagined, and there was no way to stop it now. Tuesday morning, I went to the cemetery, my father's grave, the place I went when I needed to think, when I needed perspective. I sat on the cold ground, told the headstone everything. I screwed up, I said. I wanted Jason to remember me, to see me, to acknowledge that I was part of his success, and now he's gone, probably facing criminal charges, his life destroyed, and it's my fault. The wind moved through the bare trees, November going into December, winter coming. I don't know how to fix it, I said. I don't know if I can. I stayed there for an hour, talking to stone. Then my phone rang. Bill Henderson. Dave, where are you? The cemetery. Why? You need to get to the courthouse. Now. What's happening? Jason turned himself in. He's being arraigned this morning. Fraud charges, multiple counts. My stomach dropped. When? 9 o'clock, 20 minutes. I ran to my truck, drove to the courthouse, breaking every speed limit, parked illegally, ran inside. The arraignment was in progress. I stood in the back of the courtroom, watching my son in an orange jumpsuit, hands cuffed, standing before a judge. Michelle was in the front row. Emma wasn't there. Thank God for that. The prosecutor read the charges: securities fraud, wire fraud, theft by deception, misrepresentation, 6 counts total. How does the defendant plead? The judge asked. Jason's lawyer, a young guy I'd never seen before, stood up. Not guilty, Your Honor. Bail? The people request $50,000, Your Honor. Flight risk, multiple complainants, significant financial losses. Your Honor, Jason's lawyer said, my client has no criminal record. He's a respected businessman, father of a young child, strong ties to the community. He voluntarily surrendered. We request release on recognizance. The judge looked at Jason. Mr. Patterson, do you understand the charges? Yes, Your Honor. Do you understand the potential penalties? Yes, Your Honor. Bail is set at $25,000. Next court date is January 15th. Defendant is ordered not to leave the state. The gavel came down. Jason was led away. Michelle was crying. I pushed through the crowd. "Michelle!" She looked at me, eyes red, face blotchy. "Get away from me!" "Let me help." "Help? You did this. You destroyed him. You destroyed all of us." "I didn't mean for it to go this far." "You didn't mean?" "You called his investors. You told the award committee he lied. You pulled apart every relationship he had. What did you think would happen?" "I thought the truth would come out. That's all." "The truth? The truth is that you're a bitter, jealous old man who couldn't stand that your son was more successful than you. So you tore him down. And now he's going to prison." "He's not going to prison. We'll fix this." "How? How do you fix fraud charges? How do you fix $300,000 in losses? How do you fix investors who thought your name meant something?" I didn't have an answer. "That's what I thought," she said. "Stay away from us. Stay away from Jason. You've done enough." She left. I stood in the courthouse hallway. People flowing around me. Normal people with normal problems. Parking tickets, small claims, custody disputes, not their son in cuffs because they'd wanted revenge. I called Linda. "They arrested him." "I know. Your mother called." "What do I do?" "I don't know, Dave. I honestly don't know. Come home, please. I can't watch this anymore." "Linda, I told you this would happen. I told you it would go too far, but you didn't listen. You were too busy being angry." "I know. Do you? Because from where I'm sitting, you just destroyed your son's life over a toast at Thanksgiving. Was it worth it?" I couldn't answer. "That's what I thought," she said. "I love you. But I can't do this right now. Call me when you figure out how to be a human being again." She hung up. I sat on a bench in the courthouse, watched people come and go, watched the machinery of justice grind on. At noon, Jason posted bail. I waited outside, watched him walk out with Michelle and his lawyer. "Jason," I called. He stopped, turned, looked at me with eyes I didn't recognize. "What do you want?" "To talk. We have nothing to say." "Please." He looked at Michelle. She shook her head, but Jason stepped away from her, walked over to me. "You have 1 minute," he said. "I'm sorry." "For what? Destroying my life? Ruining my reputation? Turning me into a criminal?" "I didn't mean for it to go this far." "You didn't mean? Dad, you planned this, every step, the envelope, the calls, the exposure. You wanted this to happen. I wanted truth, not this. Truth and consequences, Dad. You can't have one without the other." "I know." "Do you?" "Because I don't think you do. I think you wanted to hurt me, to punish me, to make me pay for forgetting you. I wanted you to remember. Well, I remember now. I remember that my father destroyed me. I remember that my family fell apart because you couldn't let go of your ego. I remember all of it." "Jason, I have to go. I have a lawyer to pay, charges to fight, a life to rebuild. No thanks to you." He walked away. I watched him get into Michelle's car, watched them drive away, and I realized what I'd become, not a father seeking acknowledgement, a destroyer. I drove to the shop. Rita took one look at me and went pale. "Dave?" "Cancel my appointments." "All of them?" "All of them. I need time." "How much time?" "I don't know." I went into my office, closed the door, sat in the dark. My phone rang. Detective Marcus. "Mr. Patterson, we need to speak with you again." "About what?" "Your involvement in your son's activities. We have new evidence that suggests you were more involved than you initially indicated." "What evidence?" "Text messages, emails, phone records showing coordination between you and your son regarding specific deals." "I already explained those. I was making introductions, not coordinating fraud." "The line between introduction and participation is thinner than you think. especially when investors lost money based on your vouchers. I didn't vouch for fraud, but you vouched for your son, and your son committed fraud. That makes you potentially liable. Liable how? Civil liability at minimum. Criminal charges possible if we determine you had knowledge of the fraudulent activities. I didn't have knowledge. Then you should have. You're a businessman, Mr. Patterson. You've been in this community for 30 years. You know how things work. You knew or should have known that your son was misusing your reputation. Should have known isn't the same as knowing. In the law, sometimes it is. We'll be in touch. He hung up. I sat there in the dark, thinking about liability, about consequences, about the fire I'd started that was now consuming everything. My phone buzzed. A text from my mother. I'm ashamed of you. 4 words, that's all she needed. 4 words that cut deeper than anything else. I called her. She didn't answer. I called Tom. Same thing. I called Sharon. She answered. What do you want, Dave? I need help. Why would I help you? Because I made a mistake, a terrible mistake, and I don't know how to fix it. You can't fix it. What you did, there's no fixing that. Sharon, please. Please what? Please help you clean up the mess you made? Please forgive you for destroying Jason? Please pretend this didn't happen? I don't know. Something. Dave, you're on your own. We all warned you. Mom warned you. Linda warned you. I warned you. But you didn't listen. You were too busy being right. I wasn't trying to be right. I was trying to be seen. And now everyone sees you. They see what you really are. A vindictive, petty man who would destroy his own son to salve his ego. That's not who I am. Isn't it? Because that's all I see. She hung up. I sat in the dark office until the sun went down. Didn't turn on lights. Didn't move. Just sat. Rita knocked once. Dave, you okay? No. Can I do anything? No. I'm leaving. Lock up when you go. Okay? I heard her leave. Heard the front door close. Heard silence. At 8 o'clock, I finally moved. Stood up. Turned on the light. Looked around my office. 30 years of work. Of building something. Of being reliable. All of it tainted now. All of it poisoned by what I'd done. I drove home. The house was dark. Linda's car wasn't there. I went inside. Made a drink. Sat in the living room. Thought about Jason in cuffs. Michelle crying. Emma without her father. Thought about Linda gone. My mother ashamed. My family broken. Thought about the envelope I'd left under my plate. The moment everything changed. And I wondered if revenge was worth it. If being seen was worth losing everything. I drank until I couldn't think anymore. Then I went to bed. Alone in an empty house. Reaping what I'd sown.